Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There is no easy way to say this, so I'll just say this. My name is Ram, and I'm right wing. In fact, I'm so right wing that even my divorce petition was filed on Hanuman Jayanti. Even ISIS is like, that's extreme. So let's begin with my name. There's this theory that names are a big indicator of how your parents and your elders wanted you to turn out in real life. Based on that, my parents and elders would have been very confused about how they want me to turn out in real life. Because they named me Ram Mohan. And that is the genesis of my DID. So now, when I tell my mom that whatever I am today, it's because of you, she says, don't blame me. It's not my fault. So growing up in the 80s was a lot of fun. No internet, no cell phones, no anxiety issues about how many people have liked my status on Facebook, how many followers do I have on Instagram, and why isn't anybody right swiping me on Tinder? No issues like that. And then the advent of the VCR and the struggle to watch porn. Oh my. Can you imagine jerking off without an internet? No, right? We did that. We survived that. And based on what? Image of a lady who was wearing a sleeveless blouse. It was such a complex process. You needed to think and visualize. Now, you just point and click. Or maybe you carry your cell phone with you. I distinctly remember one incident. I was in 10th and I was watching TV. Yeah, we used to watch TV in 10th. So I was in 10th and I was watching TV. And there was this video cassette of an English movie lying near the VCR. My mom came out of the kitchen, took one look at the name of the movie and started yelling at me. She went hammer and tongs at me. And I had to explain to her that the movie, The Scent of a Woman, has no woman in it. She refused to believe me. She insisted on watching the entire movie with me. And she sat down and she watched the entire movie with me. And at the end of it, she had only one question to ask. Chinna, what is the meaning of the word fuck? Fuck ante em cheppalu? So I cleared CA final in November 1996. That's the only thing I have been able to do in the first attempt. Everything else has just been downhill from there on. So, teaching is what I have done for most of my life. Sometimes I go to these seminars and conferences and usually I am asked, why did you decide to be a teacher? Now, if that question is asked in a very confrontationist tone, I try to have some fun. Because if somebody is asking you a question in a confrontationist tone, he has to be a communist. And I hate communists. So if that question is asked, I just say, because I am a Brahman and I believe in the caste system. You should look at the expression on his face. Man, he gets angered so much by that answer. I can't tell him the truth. I don't want to tell him the truth. The truth is, I teach because that is the thing I am the least bad at. MBA entrance is the sector where I started teaching. You must have heard about an exam called CAT, right? Yeah. The same exam which completely messes up your soul and makes you question your existence. Yeah, that exam. In that aspect, CAT is so much like a woman. But we'll talk about women in some other episode. We'll need one entire episode to talk about women. And CAT does seem to be a very appropriate name for that exam. One of the meanings of the word catty is cruel and spiteful. That's how you need to be in your career after CAT if you really want to pay off your student loan. So, CAT was an exam where you were checked on your mathematical ability, your English, your reasoning skills, and that was fine. But then they changed the system. So now you need to have done your 10th right, you need to have done your 12th right, you need to have not done your engineering, you need to have done your graduation right, you need to have been born a girl in a family belonging to the reserved category. That would take care of 30 to 70% of the admission criteria for most of the top B schools in India. Ironic, considering the fact that the 10 plus 2 plus 4 education system in India is highly criticized on the grounds that it does not provide employability skills, it does not provide proper training, and the MBA colleges are at the forefront of this criticism. But they take a percentage generated from the same system as a criteria and give it so much weightage. That's irony. That's like United Nations appointing Saudi Arabia as the UN ambassador for human rights, which they did. That's like Saudi Arabia criticizing Syria for being the hub of terrorism. That also they did. And of course, MBA is anti-religion. Why? There's a very simple reason. All religions ask you to exercise austerity in some way or the other. Well, the Abrahamic religions are much more practical, but because they ask you to do it only for 30 to 40 days in a year. But in Hinduism, abstinence is a way of life. Now just imagine, everybody reduces their needs, all of us reduce our needs and wants. Who will buy? Will there be any demand? What will happen to corporates? What will happen to MBAs? And that's why the economies are down. It's because over the past 5 or 6 years, people have become religious. And the more religious you are, the lesser the money you spend. And the lesser the money you spend, the weaker is the economy. It's not coronavirus, it is religion which is damaging the economy. But there were digressions. I used to teach UPSC students for some time. I believe a few videos are still there on YouTube. UPSC is one weird exam, man. According to the statistics, I saw the statistics 4 or 5 years ago. 11 lakh people buy the UPSC form. 11 lakh. That's like 4 lakh more than the population of Bhutan. That's twice the population of Luxembourg. 11 lakh people buy the UPSC form, but only 7 lakh download the admit card. Which means 4 lakh people have lost hope even before the exam. That's like Congress during the Delhi elections. A few people managed to make it to the bureaucracy by clearing these exams. They are like Aam Aadmi Party after the Delhi elections. The arrogance goes up by a few notches. And then there is this mass of hardworking people who have worked hard but have nothing to show for it. No prizes for guessing which political party that reminds me of. And there is this weird link between JNU and UPSC. A large percentage of JNU students who appear for the UPSC exam actually clear the exam and manage to become bureaucrats. That's the reason I am not surprised if the bureaucracy in India is so detached from the masses. That's why I am not surprised that nobody understands the language in which the bureaucrats speak. That's JNU, juvenile national uselessness. I have one small question for you. What is the difference between an MBA aspirant and a UPSC aspirant? An MBA aspirant becomes arrogant when he becomes an MBA and joins a company, a consulting company. A UPSC aspirant becomes arrogant the day he lands in Delhi and joins a coaching class. And UPSC issues this long, huge notification. Anybody who has gone through the UPSC notification? Right. So there is this detailed pattern of examination, the detailed syllabus, but at the top of it, there is a sentence. No special training required. Any graduate who is reasonably well read would be able to qualify the exam and write the answers. And you know the questions they ask? The first two battles of Panipat decided who will rule Delhi, but the third battle of Panipat decided who will not rule Delhi. Seriously? You seriously think that a reasonably well-read graduate would be able to answer that question about the third battle of Panipat? People don't even know when it happened. Ashutosh Gowarikar tried to tell you, but nobody saw that one. In 2011, UPSC had changed its course, changed its syllabus, and they came up with an aptitude exam and they gave it major weightage. Remember we had talked about an aptitude exam called CAT? Yes. Suddenly there was this upsurge of nationalism. Sorry, wrong word. Upsurge of patriotism in all these IIM grads who were working in MNCs. Everybody wanted to appear for UPSC. You may be a capitalist, but if the government is giving you a free bungalow, you would love it, right? And most of them used to clear the first stage easily. Because remember, they've already cleared CAT, they are gods of aptitude already. But in 2014, UPSC changed that system and made aptitude just a qualifying criteria. My God, the upsurge of patriotism fell down more rapidly than it does on the 16th of August. That's what happens with patriotism. Right? And then I had the good fortune of training all these people, kids who have just cleared their 12th examination. My God, so fiercely competitive about their percentages, their ranks, and they have a plan and they think the plan will work. That's the best part. And I just have a casual laugh when they think that way. And I just thank my stars that Facebook was not around when I was in 10th or 12th. My parents would have been so embarrassed to put up my 10th and 12th percentages on social media. But fortunately, they did not need to validate themselves through their kids' achievements. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am through with my first round. So, thank you very much. I hope to see you soon in the next episode. Thank you.